Belize Watch. Knowledge of the past, impacting the present, building the future.
Jump and shout all over the nation. We're breaking out with a new creation.
Beverly Swasey is a cancer survivor who has used her journey to make a difference. She has also been a teacher, city councilor, and engaged in the arts for many years. She welcomed the Belize Watch team to her home in Belmopan. We will have that conversation with her after we hear from our partners, the Barry, Honorable Kevin Bernard, Shell Belize Limited, and the Belize Tourism Board.
In 2 years, Madam Speaker, we have built 3 new fully operational health centers, one in Cookittree, one in Belmopan, and another in Kikaka. In a matter of weeks, a health center in the community of Santa Marta will be completed. And thanks to the Minister of Tourism and Diaspora Relations, we are constructing a polyclinic in Placencia as we speak. We have totally upgraded health centers in Ladyville, in Hattieville, Valley of Peace, and in Georgeville. The one in Georgeville was just completed. That is tangibly working for the people.
I'm a Belizean traveler. Are you?
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more, be less.
Shell V-Power with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from. You that you and me that me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean?
And I'm at the home of Miss Beverly Swasey. Miss Bev, everybody call her Miss Bev.
Yeah.
Miss Bev, I want to thank you so much for inviting me to your home, right? And for having me here with you and for agreeing to hold this conversation with me. Thank you so much. Miss Bev, I have known you for so long,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You know,
Long time.
you have had a very amazing career. You've been in so many different aspects. You've played a role in so many different aspects of Belizean life. But this time is when I want to get to know you in detail, starting from the very beginning, right?
You need a half year for that.
Well, maybe we could take that long, that Miss Bev. Let's say what about us taking that long?
Well, if you have to continue the show,
You
yes.
see, you sound like the square peg players. Miss Bev, you were born in Belize City.
Belize City at the
and
Old Belize Hospital.
Okay, let's take it from there. Tell me with the story.
All right. Well, I was born to Louis Egbert Gladstone Swasey and Ernie Caroline Valderrams.
In Belize City.
In
At the
Belize.
old Belize City Hospital
Yeah.
on Eve Street.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
that's right. Yes.
Okay.
And Well, we grew up in a yard behind St. Mary's School, or church, yes, school, called Stamp Yard. And there were the Gabriels that lived next door to the Stamp Yard. You used to hear Mr. Gabriel sneeze every evening at a certain time.
Oh, you got time for
Yes, and when I was 3 years old, 3 going on 4, we went to Cinderella Town. My mom got a council house there, and we moved there.
Those were new green and white houses that
Yes,
were
with the little picket fences.
picket fences and
Yes.
so those nice, you know, when
Yes,
the restaurant had just started was
yes.
built, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw Salviva Bakery come in the scene, and because they were by the sawmill, almost by the river, near to Norton Street, and saw Palotti being built. I also saw St. Joseph Church go up from sticks and canvas to a wooden church, and then to a cement church. And then I went through 1961 hurricane. I was 14 then.
What do you recall of 1961 hurricane?
I remember that the hurricane was coming here, and then they said it was going. It had gone past us, but around that same time, a cold front came and pushed it back down to Belize. Yes, and I remember we went to school the afternoon, and they told us to pack up our things, that we'd have to go home because the hurricane was coming towards us. And my dad was working out at the Key, and my mom was working at the hospital at the time. And so my neighbors kind of took care of me. Mr. Jim Wright, he used to work at Harley's years ago. And they took me with them. No, my mother came, and eventually, and we all went to technical high school. Okay. Yes.
So, but your time during Hattie was a scary time, right? What happened to the home that you were in, the house that you were in?
No,
spent
we
the
were
hurricane?
lucky. Many of the houses built just like that, turn over on their heads. Ours, one pane fell out of those sash windows, and maybe a zinc blew off. And well, the water came up high, so it brought lots of mud into the house. But there was lots of water in the yard, and we took that same water and washed out the house, and cleaned it up. And we took in a lot of our neighbors. We took in Mr. Jim Wright, and his wife, Miss Eileen, and Miss Eileen's mom, Miss Etlina, and they had sons. They had a son, Alan, and I think Butsu was their son as well. And then his brother, the brother and the wife were in the States, but they had the wife's mother, Miss Lily, and her granddaughter, Janet, and her grandson, John. And we took in all of them. We only had 2 bedrooms, but we had a living, dining, and a little kitchen, and a bathroom downstairs, and a commode in the backyard. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure all of us at our age would have a lot of memories of Hurricane Hattie indeed, because I certainly have my own memories of Hurricane Hattie, that horrible night, you know, that Hurricane Hattie affected me.
That wind wasn't anything nice. I remember we had to move from a classroom we were in, and to the end, all of us were packed up in the center of technical, that little center part that has 2-story. That's where most of us ended up. We had to be going up as the water came up. We went up the stairs.
So during the hurricane, even though you had your home in Cinderella Tongue, you took refuge at the technical college. That was like a hurricane center. You did not stay in the house.
Yeah. And then before the hurricane came, my mom, we went to a shop, Esteban Pereira's shop, right there opposite Technical High School, and Mama bought bun and cheese and different things that we would need, water and whatnot, and we took that with us. So the morning after the hurricane, Mama was like feeding her 5 barley loaves and 2 fishes.
And I'm sure a lot of people were there who didn't have anything at all.
Yes, who didn't think of taking anything. But Mom had gone through 31, and so she knew how to deal with the hurricane, yes. And so she shared out to everybody. Everybody got something to eat that morning.
Now, after Hurricane Hattie, yeah, you were still going to school. You still continued your schooling.
Yes.
Where did you?
I was going to St. Catherine's. I had started St. Catherine's in 1960. And so I was in second year when the hurricane. And school didn't open again. It closed like it was the 31st of October, 1961. And school opened again in 1962 in February, about the end of February. Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't graduate until 64, the 26th of April, 1964.
1964.
Yes.
And after graduation, what did you do?
After graduation, we didn't know what we wanted to do. And
You didn't have any dreams or goals, specific dreams or goals in your mind as to where you wanted to go?
I wanted to go on from high school. I wanted to go to sixth form, but my parents couldn't afford that then. My mom was a maid at the hospital, and my dad was a mason, but he was an alcoholic and drank out most of his money. So he didn't have money to send me to school. And but I remember Sister Sarita was our principal when I graduated from high school. I started off with Joycelyn, and then Sister Sarita came after Joycelyn. And she told us that Father Stobie needed teachers. And if we were interested, we could go to Father Stobie and he would take us down.
And so you became a teacher.
And I became a teacher.
How long did that teaching career last, Bev?
36 years.
36 years at St. Catherine's, or you went to other institutions?
I taught first in St. Ignatius, and then I came up to Belmopan. I came up to Belmopan in 1973, and I retired from Compre in 2000.
1973, you came to Belmopan. That Belmopan was a very young Belmopan at that time. I think it was just
3 years old.
3 years old.
3 years old.
Well, 3 years old, something. Yes, just 3 years old.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Now, what was it like moving to Belmopan?
It was rough. First of all, the road to Belmopan wasn't a road. It was like a picado.
Yes.
And we came up in a truck, and it rained. So everything for the house got wet along the way. And I came up because I was married but already separated from my husband when I came up here. I hadn't taken out a divorce yet, but we weren't together. And I had 2 sons. One was about 5 years old, and the other one was 2 or 3 years old. Yes, and my mother and my father, because
They moved with you?
they moved with me whenever I moved. Yes, they left their own house and moved in a smaller house.
In Belmopan.
Yes, when I left my husband, because I wanted peace. I was an abused wife, so I wanted peace. It didn't matter where I had to go to find that peace. So I went into a little house, probably a little bit bigger than this veranda.
Wow, that's a little house indeed. That's a little house indeed.
It was from my aunt on Ferrell's Lane. And she was in the States at the time, and she told me I could use it until I could find a better house and a better place. And so when I moved from there, I did find a better house on the canal side by the Yabra, burial ground, that area there. And I didn't stay there for long, because then I met the principal of the school up here, who told me that there was a vacancy.
Then you came, that's how you
that-
came to
yes,
Belmopan.
and he was on the board, and so I got the chance to come to Belmopan and teach here and to pick whatever house I want. And this is the house I picked from the very beginning.
Why did you pick this site? What attracted you to this, this site?
I think it was because there were little steps to come down. I was a romantic back then, and those little steps they fascinated me, coming down into the yard and the big drains, and it was strange. It was very quiet in the evening, even in the daytime. It was very quiet, you know. And you could have down the street. You could have picked any house. There was all the houses. Most of them were empty.
There was a lot of encouragement and facilities being granted for people to move to Belmopan in those days, right?
Yes. Well, the thing is that these houses had sewers and toilets, proper toilets. In Belize City,
You didn't.
no. No. Well, the house that I left had a sewer and nice toilet, but still it wasn't mine. But this would be mine, and so I was looking to owning my own place.
So you must have been brave, and I guess the idea of owning, or the goal of owning your own place, must have driven you, because I can recall that in those early days of Belmopan, there was a lot of discouragement in going on in Belize City against to people who wanted to move to Belmopan, and hence the reluctance of you even to take up the houses and the lots, even though they were there, you know, and were almost being given away, next to being given away. People did not want to take him.
No, they didn't want to come to Belmopan. They used to say Belmopan.
Belmopan.
Yes, yes, because it used to be very muddy when it rained. Your shoes used to get stuck in the mud. You would lose your shoes whenever rainy weather.
So along the streets, most of these homes were empty, like you said, and you managed to select this one.
I went for the overnight. When I came to see the houses, I stayed with Mrs. Sonia Fuller. She was Samuel. She's a relative of mine as well. And I asked her, I said, which house would you pick if you were me? And she said, you know, these duplex here. They had some other duplex, but she said these were the best ones because you got a double lot and you know, and there was a future in growing the house. Yes, yeah. So I came and I walked down the street. It wasn't too far from where she lives, so I came down here and I said, yeah, this is the one I want. And I went to Recondev and told them which one I wanted.
What were the terms? Can you recall the terms that they got the house on?
At that time, it was like $52 a month.
$52 a month.
And I think it was more, but
you were a teacher.
Yes, as a teacher, the government paid like 2/3 of it, and you paid the rest. And then we still used to get $15 every 2 weeks
Allowance.
for transportation to Belize City and back. Yes, yes.
So it was a wise choice, and looking back,
Yes,
you know.
it was good for me.
Yeah.
It was good for me, and having my mom and my dad, and it's a duplex. They could have one half, and I could have the other half with my kids. Yes.
I can recall those early days of Belmopan, indeed, that so many people were reluctant. Even after the highway was paved, there was this campaign moved against by certain elements about going to live in Belmopan. Everybody wants to be in Belmopan right now. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're one of the early Belmopanese, so to speak, if I can say that. If I can say that. Maybe it's better to say one of the early pioneers of today's Belmopan.
We will continue our discussion with Beverly Swasey as she speaks of her early teaching profession and serving as a counselor in the Belmopan City Council. But first, we hear from our partners, the Barry, Honorable Kevin Bernard, Shell Belize Limited, and the Belize Tourism Board.
In 2 years, Madam Speaker, we have built 3 new fully operational health centers, one in Coquetry, one in Belmopan, and another in Kikaka. In a matter of weeks, a health center in the community of Santa Marta will be completed. And thanks to the Minister of Tourism and Diaspora Relations, We are constructing a polyclinic in Placencia as we speak. We have totally upgraded health centers in Ladyville, in Hattieville, Valley of Peace, and in Georgeville. The one in Georgeville was just completed. That is tangibly working for the people.
I'm a Belizean traveler. Are you?
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Be less.
Shell V-Power with 3 times more cleaning and friction reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from. You that you and me that me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean?
And so I came up here and I started teaching at the junior school, what is now Evergreen Primary School. And I was there for about 10 years. And then a job came up at the high school. And since I was a social studies and geography teacher, and that's what they wanted at the time, I got in on the comprehensive school staff. And I started off as a part-time, but then the person who left the job didn't come back. And so I got it as a permanent post. And I stayed there for 17 years. Yes.
What became of the children, your 2 children?
My 2 children, my 2 boys, they were with me. My mom took care of them at home, and I went out to teach. Yes, and the boys, 2 of them went to junior school and then Compre. And the older boy graduated from Compre, and he went to School of Agriculture. He got a scholarship to go there. Well, we wrote and begged for a scholarship because I couldn't send him to 6th form, and I didn't want him to be idle and have no future. And then my younger son, Alain, he finished high school, and I sent him to 6th form, but he wasn't successful there. So I told him, I said, well, you better look for a job. So he started to work at the lands department, and eventually he became a lands officer, like a field officer, and he got connected to the ESTAP project when they were building the road down south, and he was working there, and he had gained some things, but at the time he wasn't really ready to put his all into that. So he worked with the lands department, and eventually he ended up at SIB, and then he got an opportunity to go to Washington, where he was working with the World Bank. Still works with
Okay,
them to
so-
some extent.
So you're happy with the life that you made for yourself here in Belmopan?
Yes, and my older boy, he got into, after School of Agriculture, he got into doing pest control, roaches at the time. And eventually he wanted more, and he studied on his own, got a certificate from Purdue in pest control, and now he owns his own business.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Robinson's Pest Control.
Oh, I'm familiar with that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm proud of my two boys.
Very good. I can see that, Mom. I can see that you're very, very proud of them.
Yes.
Now, in Belmopan, at that time, in the 70s, right, the road not yet paved, and what have you, public officers who were working here in Belmopan would have it difficult, even waiting for the weekend to rush back to Belize City,
Yeah.
even despite the lack of a proper paved road.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't want to, it
didn't
was
want
like,
to
let's
stay.
get out of here, you know.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
You were one of those who said, no, this is my home,
Yes.
I will stay.
Yes. And there were lots of people who had house parties.
On the weekends.
Yes.
Who stayed?
Yes, and so we used to go to different houses and have barbecues, or sometimes we go to the river and have bonfire and sing along and whatnot. Yeah, those were good days. Those were good days. Yes.
All the days of Belmopan. So
Yes,
you're definitely one of the pioneers. Belmopan has grown tremendously over the years. It's a huge area right now. Then I guess almost every area of Belmopan is taken up, right?
Yes. Every part, people want to know how you can get a piece of land now, you know. And the thing is that in the early years, at the time when I was a city councillor, lands were being sold like for 5,000 an acre and so on. And then after that, people start to take those same lands and sell them for 60,000 an acre. And so, you know, land is really, really, really expensive nowadays when you buy. And even with the lands that they give out in the different projects, for example, J&W, no? Some people bought their land, you know, at the beginning for like 20,000, and they end up selling it for 35,000. Yeah. So if you want a piece of land in Belmopan now or anywhere, I guess in Belize, you have to pay. Yes, as if you got the money, they've got the time, or they've got the land.
Yeah, but in those days, I can still recall, so many years ago, you know, how many people they were almost begging people to come and stay in Belmopan.
Yes, and live here and
make a future
and
for
work
themselves,
and work
make a
here.
future.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, once I came up, as I tell you, when I left Belize, I had nothing because my husband and I had split up, and he took everything. So I needed a home for my children and for my parents and for myself. And Belmopan was the catalyst or the magnet that drew me.
We saw the addition, when it comes to Belmopan, we saw the addition of Salvapan, Las Flores, and all these adjoining communities which now make up the greater Belmopan area. What are your thoughts on those as you saw them coming in?
Well, when they were here, you know, a lot of them were here squatting behind the bushes.
Okay.
And we didn't know until Mr. Tony Chanona became mayor in 2000, and then he started to find out that people were living behind here and had to ask people, well, to give up or legalize what they had, you know, so that they could get their papers and things like that. And, you know, we didn't know the hornet's nest that was there, you know, because all these people had squatted and were there for years, some of them.
Of course, some are here as part of the refugee program as
Yes,
well. That was not all of them that was squatting, but there was an organized refugee program.
And so on, and wanted land here, you know, and they got land here, and they had little farms lots of people had farms around the place. Even where Juan Mart is and so on, people have had little farms out in those places. Yes, and then the Chinese and other business people came and bought up the lands, and well, they showed money, so people let go the land for the money.
Yeah. No, back to you and your career. You actually got into politics, right? Because you were part of the first Belmopan City Council. The second one. Okay,
Tony Chanona's second term.
second term, not his first term. Now, how did you get involved in the political arena?
Okay, I had a good friend working in the office with Mr. Tony, and I think she was his secretary or something there. But she came and she asked me, she said, Bev, would you be interested in getting into politics? And I said, I don't know. I don't really trust politics. And then I said, who would be on the slate? And she said, well, Mr. Tony is running, but he's looking for a slate for his second term. And when I heard Tony, I know Tony from years before. When I first came up here, I used to see Tony up here. I didn't know him personally, but I used to see him. So when she said that he was going to run and he wanted to get a slate together, I said, well, I think I will try it. If it doesn't suit me, I'll get out. And that's how I got into politics. And I saw things around that I wanted to see happen as well. And
How many terms did you serve on? Only one.
only one. It was right after that, in 2006, that all kinds of things happened with the People's United Party, under whose banner I entered the elections. And they lost, so we lost.
Okay, so you had contested the 2006 election.
2000, yes, I
Yeah,
did.
that
I
was
did.
The tongue
Yes,
election.
yes,
That's the
yes,
one you lost.
yes,
That
and
was
I
before the
lost that.
general election that was lost in 2008.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just served from 2003 to 2006. In 2005, at the beginning, I took up the office of deputy mayor
Okay.
for 1 year, because anybody who served would serve for a year. Some people serve longer than a year, but I only served for the 1 year as deputy mayor.
What were some of the highlights you think that were achieved under the 3 years, during the 3 years that you served?
Okay, for me personally, Tony had given me some little projects, that I should handle on my own. And one of them was to have a place for a clinic back in the Salvapan, San Martin area. There was a little house that was there. Belize City Council at the time, I can't remember the lady's name, but she was a counselor there, and she used to get things from abroad. And I remember getting some beds that you could roll up for the sick people. And she gave me about 3 of them.
Okay.
And I gave one for the clinic, the little clinic in the back there, so that if at night we hired a nurse who lived close to the place. And I gave a bed to the hospital, and I kept one for Cancer Society. And the other project was we had a library. We got some computers so that the children from the back there could come there when they had, because they didn't have computers at home, so they could come and do homework there. We hired a lady who was a teacher to run it was like a little study hall back there. And so I had to see that a house got built, but I don't remember exactly. I don't know, I can't remember if it was for the clinic.
Okay.
But I had to liaise with Mr. Mena from Wood Depot to see that that house was built and put where it was supposed to go, to see that we get the teacher, to see that supplies and so on were given to the resource center, they call it. And mainly those were the things I was in charge of. Yes.
Now, did you ever enter politics again after losing that town board election? Did you ever make an attempt? Did you had any that sort of killed your desires?
Yes, yes. Yes. Politics to me was a nasty business. You know, people wanted you to do things for them, and then they are the same one would turn around and talk that you bribe them, or you know. And I didn't grow up like that. You know, I wasn't in to do that kind of thing. No, I went through some of it, and I didn't want to go through it again. And I said I can serve my country even better without being in politics, because then it would come from my heart, and I wouldn't have to be answering to nobody. I answer to myself.
In our final segment, Beverly Swasey speaks to us about her cancer diagnosis and the formation of the Cancer Society in Belmopan. She has also been a member of the Senior Steppers group that focuses on engaging older persons in exercise and dance. We will have that for you after we hear from our partners, the Barry, Honorable Kevin Bernard, Shell Belize Limited, and the Belize Tourism Board.
In 2 years, Madam Speaker, we have built 3 new fully operational health centers, one in Coquetry, one in Belmopan, and another in Kikaka. In a matter of weeks, a health center in the community of Santa Marta will be completed. And thanks to the Minister of Tourism and Diaspora Relations, we are constructing a polyclinic in Placencia as we speak. We have totally upgraded health centers in Ladyville, in Hattieville, Valley of Peace, and in Georgeville. The one in Georgeville was just completed. That is tangibly working for the people.
Traveler, are you?
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Pay less.
Shell V-Power with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from. You that you and me that me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean?
That your teaching career and the little political career, the short political career you had, What are some of the other areas that that you served your country in? You said you wanted to
right,
continue serving your country. I know you were part of the Cancer Society, for example.
Yes.
But what are some? You tell me some.
All right. What led me to start the Cancer Society up here was that I was diagnosed with breast cancer at age 50.
Okay.
And so when I found out I had cancer, I knew that it was a big taboo. People didn't want to talk about it. People were scared when they found out they had cancer. They thought that if you have cancer, you have to die, you know. And so when I had my cancer, I took it as a matter of fact. Okay, I have it. I have to get rid of it, and I have to take care of myself better, etc. And so when I went to Merida for treatment.
Okay.
While I was in Merida, I heard that the doctors and nurses and some citizens had met here in Belmopan, and that they had a meeting and they were talking about the asbestos in the roof of the houses that were built up here. And so I said, well, when I go back now, I can join that group. I thought I would hear of them having another meeting. But I came back and everything went quiet. Nobody was talking about cancer anymore or anything. And I sat on my bed the end of that year, and something, I guess that's when they say God talk to you, you know. Something in my mind tell me, Bev, why don't you call up some of your friends and start a cancer society? And so that's what I did. I knew very, very well people because I taught their children. They're my neighbors because all my neighbors joined me. And I had a meeting at Belmopan Comprehensive School where I teach, and or I used to teach. And about 16 people came the first time. And that very first meeting, they elected a president, a vice president, a treasurer, a secretary, and trustees. Yes, and we kept good records. I remember my secretary at the time was Margaret Ventura.
I know Miss Margaret very well.
And her assistant was Mrs. Lorraine Magdaleno. And my treasurer was Daniel Zetina. And Miss Carolisa Aguilar, I think, either she was the treasurer and he was the assistant, or he was the treasurer and she was the assistant.
But the thing is they were both active.
Yes, they were the ones. And we started little fundraisers, you know, like the first show we put off at the church. It was a meeting. We invited people and gave information about cancer. But I did a little I wrote a little skit about my experience with cancer and what happened, and how I found the lump and things like that. And we performed the skit right there in the church, and we made a little collection, and that started our first fundraising. And then after that, we used to do some at the Civic Center. I used to do things at the Civic Center, have meetings there, have AGMs there, etc. We used to have AGMs at the Lions Den that used to be right by DFC building there, behind there, when the theater was around, yes. And so that's how the Cancer Society got started. And this year makes 25 years.
25 years of the Belmopan Cancer Society.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
And what became of your cancer?
My cancer went into remission. I had a surgery. I had a radical mastectomy, and then so I wear what you call a prosthesis, and it hasn't come back. I try to take care of myself and drink herbs and all kinds of things, you know, to keep myself healthy. Yes.
And you're also a community activist beside the Cancer Society, right?
Yes.
What are some of the other areas that you agitate in?
I joined the Senior Steppers around 2011, and I have served as their chairperson 2 or 3 times. Right now, I'm chairing them, but I'm giving them 1 month to find a new chairperson.
Senior steppers. These are senior citizens
Yes.
like ourselves.
Dance and exercise.
Dance and exercise.
Yes, and we perform for the public now and again. Yes, yes. So I'm involved with that. I was also involved with a women's group, but that's not very active right now. Pauline was a member of that group once. And I do drama. I'm involved right now with a play we are putting on, and some workshops are going on right now with a Panamanian actor who is here through Niche, the efforts of Niche, to do acting workshops.
Let me look at your acting, well, let's call it a career. Your acting career, Miss Bev.
Yes. Well, that started from I was a little girl at Holy Redeemer Holy Redeemer Primary School. I loved to be on the stage. And
What was the first thing you acted in?
well, I didn't act so much then. It was dancing. I did lots of dance. I remember doing student prince. What's the name of
Student Prince, my Rolands, I think, sang a song in there.
Yes, yes, and then so I was in dances with that. Every year, every Christmas, school used to put off shows at Parish Hall, and I used to be in that.
Were you
But
ever connected to the Bob Reynolds School of Dance?
no,
Okay.
no, never. I just loved to dance, and I did my own choreography when I needed to.
also?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, because we won. I came up here to, what really started me off into acting and writing skits and scripts and so on was when I came up here as a teacher.
Okay.
You had to be involved in those kinds of things, you know. We had things at the Civic Center, and each class had to put off a show or a skit or a dance or something. And I remember me and Mrs. Kisling and Mrs. Shirley Coleman and Miss Rita Enriquez. She used to live up the street here. We used to get together. We used to make our own props. We used to, first we used to take skits out of books. But my first skit that I produced was, I wrote it myself and got the children from my classroom to act in it at the Civic Center. You know, and then after that, we used to get out of those magazines that used to come. I can't remember the name of them now, but they used to come with little scripts and so on in them, little plays. And so we had to produce those. We used to produce those with witches and with Charlie Brown and all, you know, the Maynard's sons. They used to act in those plays. Then after that, I remember Ronald Clark.
Yes.
He
Remember
got
Ronald
interested
Clark
and-
very well.
Yes, and he wanted us to write a story, and I had started something with Louise. What was the name of that Louise? Bennett. She had a poem, Roast Turkey.
Yeah.
And I wrote a script around that, making it into a play. Yes, and so we did that at the Civic Center. I remember my actors, and you know, some of them they were young boys, but they've grown old, and yes. And so that's where I got started from. Ronald couldn't stay and finish up, so I had to end up with it all on my own with the help of, I think at the time, Mark Chavarria.
Yeah.
And he was like the producer. I was the director. And I became director and actor and you know, all those things over the years. Then when Hipólito Bautista came up here, he came and he asked me to join him to do a play called Champagne and Sky Juice, written by Basil Dawkins from Jamaica. Yes, so, and then we acted in that, and that was like a 3-hour play. And he directed me and I directed him.
Yeah, Hipólito was a passionate playwright.
Yes.
The person that enjoyed
Yes,
the
and we
theater.
used to practice for hours, sometimes 6 o'clock till 11 o'clock at night, like for 3 months. Yes, yes. So, and now I am trying to encourage young people to, I don't have all the zest I used to have then, but I still try to share what I know. And I have a assistant now in Nick Olmeida's daughter, Nicola Hyde. She is my assistant director, and she is a very good actress.
Miss Bev,
Yes.
coming from Belmopan in the early days, with a road that connected to the Belize city that was not even paved. It was a gravel road. You've seen all the developments leading up to where Belmopan is today, a modern, I would want to almost call it a metropolis, a modern city, right? A city that as Belizeans we can be proud of to call our capital city. You have seen all this growth of our capital city throughout the years. Can you walk me through some of the highlights or some of the things, what goes through your mind when you walk through the Belmopan today and compare it with the Belmopan that existed when you came here?
Yeah. Well, I liked Belmopan from the first day I came up here. In fact, before I came to live here, I visited Belmopan, and I wanted to come and live here. So I welcomed the opportunity to come up here. But it was very quiet in the early days. Everybody knew everybody at that time. Now, with the city growing as fast as it's going right now, you know, half the people you don't know again, or more than half. Yeah. You know, you might know 5% of them now compared to when, you know, in the beginning. A lot of development, most of it good, but you see where some things aren't as nice as it used to be back in the early days. You know, with garbage and burning of bush and cutting down trees and since, well, when COVID, some people started raising chickens again. Because my neighbors have chickens, so I hear roosters in the morning.
Did you raise any chicken?
No, I have never raised chicken here. I don't have time for them. I don't have time for myself. But yeah, a lot of things have changed, as I said, some for the good, but some of them not so good as well. I would like to see that people take more interest and are more caring for neighbors and people in the community, you know, not be so mercenary for everything, you know, everybody just talk and think about making a buck, you know. That's what has changed for me, and I guess I could say a lot more, but right now my brains have closed down.
I know you have a dance class. Is it a dance class that you're about to do? Practice a dance practice. What are you practicing for right now?
What happened is that people invite us from time to time to participate in their programs, and they're having a Mother's Day program tomorrow at the senior, not seniors, Help Age building, and they invited us to do a dance or two for them. So we didn't get the message until last Thursday after our meeting.
Okay.
And so we didn't have time to practice anything. So this evening we will decide for what we will do for them tomorrow.
So you mean that after you finish talking with me, you're going to decide what you're going to do?
Yes.
When you say and do it?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Wow. That I wish I could give you some ideas there, but I don't want to.
We have a couple, but we have to practice it. Yes.
So I could imagine you're eager to go and deal with it. But you have been when it comes to dancing, you have performed internationally, right? You have taken out people.
No, we haven't gone out of Belize. We went once to
Oh,
Merida.
because I know you gone somewhere.
Yes, we went to Merida, and we did dance there at a community center, something like that, where the people there, the ladies there dance for us, and we dance for them. Yes, that was about, I don't know, 8, 9 years ago.
Miss Bev, you know, good things come to an end, and you have your students waiting for you. So I don't want to keep you back much longer, and I want to thank you so much for agreeing to talk with me. But tell me some of the experiences in wrapping up and areas how you were trained and so forth, who you are today.
All right.
Where dancing is concerned.
All right. Dancing, I used to do some dancing with, when I think it's Greg Vernon used to come up here.
Yeah.
But my training in acting, I was talking about, was with Lagartija, a group of people who started acting training in Central America. And so I had to go to all the Central American countries every year. And we had one of those training right here in Belmopan in 2013, in January, where international directors and actors came to facilitate these workshops.
And as you sit here reflecting on your life, Ms. Bev, what comes to mind immediately overall in summarizing your life?
Well, it has been a roller coaster. Sometimes high and sometimes low. And but I've enjoyed my life. I have no regrets. A lot of the things I learned from my mistakes, and I learned from other people and other people's mistakes in life. My sisters and brothers and my mother and so on. So, yeah, my life, I cannot complain. It has not been tippy-toppy and the best, but it was a good life.
I've enjoyed my life. Maybe and in parting, we can maybe speak of the importance of enjoying your life.
Yes.
Right? Regardless of what is in front of you, what obstacles are in front of you, you surmount these obstacles, you learn from them, and then you move on, right?
That's right.
And
yes, and I've learned that you take life as it comes, and you think and wish for what you want, and know that it will be given to you. If you really want it, you will have it. But as the saying goes, be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it, and it might not be what you really wanted. So, but, you know, take life as it comes and rely on your God.
there's this thing that life follows thought. In other words,
Yes.
your life will follow what you have up here and where you
Yes,
where
where you
you project.
That's
you know?
right.
So that is very important, right?
Yes, yes. You have to have the vision. You have to know where you want to go, and keep your focus, and don't, divert from that vision. Don't drop the ball. You know, keep at it, whatever it is you want. Just keep going, and it will come. If you want it badly enough, it will come.
Keep your eye on the goal.
Yes.
I think biblically it's a keep your eye on the prize, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're referring to, right?
Yes.
But all of this is pushed and inspired by one great feeling inside of us, right? And that's the feeling of love, because love to me is the biggest feeling, is the greatest feeling that one can ever have.
Yeah.
Your comments on love?
Yeah. You have to love what you do, because they say if you love what you do, you don't work a day. So, yes, I love what I do, and I love, I love life. And I always encourage people to live their best life, to enjoy life. Yes.
And so the teaching career on your part, because you love teaching, the teaching career continues, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes,
you are
that's
doing
right.
what you love.
Yes, yes,
Right.
that's right. That's right. Yes.
So whether it's teaching dancing, whether it's teaching other aspects of life, whatever it is, that's what you love, and that's what you teach. You teach people how to love what
Yes.
what they do.
Yes. Love what you do.
And it's a choice, though, Miss Bev, right?
Yes.
You know, love is always a choice that we make, right?
Yes, yes, it
And
is
it's
a
good
choice.
It's the best
Yes,
choice to
it's
make.
the best choice. That's right. That's right. Because it will lead you in the right direction.
That's right. And so, we say Belize and
beyond.
Thanks
Thanks
for choosing love.
Belize Watch. Knowledge of the past, impacting the present, building the future.
Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from. You that you and me that me.